When I first stepped into the Hartley mansion, a place whispered about in hushed, envious tones, I never imagined my life was about to change forever. My name is Clara. I was 26, trying to piece my life back together after a painful divorce had left me with nothing but debt and a fractured sense of self. The job seemed simple enough. Be a housemaid, clean the endless marble floors, stay quiet, and never, ever cross the invisible lines drawn between the staff and the employers. But those lines started to blur the moment I met her Vivian Hartley, my new boss. Vivian was the kind of woman people only talked about in legends. She was fabulously wealthy, breathtakingly elegant, and always in control. Her beauty was the kind that commanded silence, the kind that made entire rooms hold their breath when she entered. I had only ever seen her in glossy magazines. In person, she was even more intimidating and impossibly, achingly captivating. On my first day, she barely even glanced at me. Her voice was cool, like ice skating over glass. Follow the rules, do your job, and you'll be fine, she said, her eyes already on something far more important than me. I just nodded, my heart hammering against my ribs. The mansion was a palace gilded chandeliers that dripped with crystals. Windows taller than I was. A sterile, museum-like perfection. I worked until my hands ached, polishing the same hallways, making sure not a single speck of dust marred the opulence. But what struck me most wasn't the sheer luxury of it all. It was the crushing, suffocating loneliness that filled the air like a fine mist. Vivian lived in this enormous, gilded cage all by herself. There was no laughter echoing down the halls, no family photos on the gleaming surfaces, no warmth to be found anywhere. It was a beautiful, hollow shell. One evening, I stayed late to finish cleaning her study, wanting everything to be perfect. I was so focused, I didn't realize she was standing right behind me until her soft voice cut through the silence. You're still here. I jumped, turning around, startled. I just wanted to make sure everything was perfect, I stammered. For the very first time, I saw a crack in her icy facade, her expression soft. You take pride in what you do, she observed. I like that. That night, when our eyes met, her gaze lingered just a little longer than it should have. A spark had been lit. In the dark, days melted into weeks, and slowly, the frost between us began to thaw. Our brief professional interactions grew warmer, more personal. She started asking questions about my life, where I came from, my family, why I was working as a maid when I had a degree in literature. Life doesn't always go as planned, I told her one afternoon while dusting the leather-bound books in her vast library. A faint, sad smile touched her lips. No, she agreed softly, it doesn't. After that conversation, she began inviting me for tea in the afternoons. At first, I thought it was just pity, a rich woman's fleeting amusement. But as we talked, I saw glimpses of the real woman hidden behind the powerful CEO, lonely heart, weary of being admired for her fortune instead of her soul. She was just as trapped as I was, just in a much prettier prison. I should have known better. I should have guarded my heart. But love isn't something you can schedule or control. It arrives unannounced. One stormy night, the power suddenly went out, plunging the mansion into darkness. I was about to head home when I saw a flickering light at the top of the grand staircase. It was Vivian, holding a single candle, her face illuminated in the soft glow. Stay, she said, her voice barely a whisper. It's too dangerous to drive in this weather. We ended up in the living room with only the dancing candlelight and the sound of rain drumming against the windows for company. Then she asked me to read to her on her favorite book of poetry. My voice trembled as I began, the words filling the quiet space between us. She listened with an intensity that made my skin prickle, her eyes fixed on me, not the book. When I finished, she whispered, "You make the words sound beautiful." I let out a nervous laugh. It's the poem, not me. Her gaze deepened, pulling me in. No, she insisted, it's you. In that moment, the world fell away. The only sound was the thunder rumbling outside and the frantic beating of my own heart. Then she leaned closer. I could smell the faint, intoxicating scent of jasmine on her skin. Vivian. I breathed her name, a plea and a warning, all at once. She hesitated for a split second, a battle raging in her eyes, and then she kissed me. It was soft, hesitant, and filled with a universe of unspoken longing. When we finally pulled apart, we were both trembling, the reality of what we had just done crashing down on us. "This can't happen," she said, her voice breaking. "You work for me." The cold, hard rules snapped back into place. "I know," I whispered back, my heart aching. "But tell me it meant nothing, and I'll leave tomorrow and never look back." She didn't answer. Her silence was everything. The next morning, I came downstairs with a heavy heart, ready to pack my bags and disappear from her life. But she was there, waiting for me in the kitchen. She wasn't wearing her pristine, powerful business suit. She was just in a simple sweater, her eyes tired but clear. "I can't stop thinking about you," she admitted, her voice quiet and raw. "I tried, Clara, but I can't." I froze, hope and fear warring inside me. "Then what do we do?" I asked. A soft, genuine smile finally reached her eyes. "Maybe," she said, "we stop pretending we don't feel it." And just like that, all the rules, all the invisible lines, all the walls we had built around our hearts shattered into a million pieces. What followed wasn't a fairy tale. It was real, and it was complicated. We had to hide our relationship, fight against vicious rumors, and protect what we had found from a world that was determined to tear it apart. But every single stolen moment with her, every shared smile, every quiet conversation felt worth the fight. I no longer scrubbed her floors. Instead, I shared her mornings, her laughter, and her deepest fears. She told me I reminded her what real love felt like, a love without contracts, without power dynamics, without walls. Sometimes, late at night, when the world is asleep and she pulls me close, she whispers, "You changed my life." And I think back to that broken girl who first walked into this mansion just looking for a job. She had no idea she was about to find her home. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If it touched your heart, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more stories that remind us love can be found in the most unexpected places. See you next time.